So barriers to disability that are beyond control. Typically, I spend about 5 seconds on this slide, but unfortunately, it has been a reality, not just for my center and my location, but across the country, that people are being denied. I have not had one person that has applied for Social Security disability since September of 2020 get approved. They're all on either their first appeal or waiting now for an adjudication review. What is going on? And I said the same thing, because there's this little thing that they send out that tells you, we're not saying that you can't, we're not saying you're disabled, not disabled to where you can't do your current job, but hey, we think that you could work and earn basically substantial gainful activity, which is $1,200 a month. Okay, so typically in the past, lower wage earners would have to work a lot more to earn $1,200 a month. Our shortage, our labor shortage, is impacting this significantly. The willing rate to pay workers being significantly higher than it was 18 months ago has also influenced this. So in order to be approved for Social Security disability, you have to show Social Security that you are unable to work any job in the market and earn more than $1,220 in a month. When Target is paying $20 an hour instead of $10 an hour, now you have to work half of what you used to work to do that. So one of the things with HD that they look at is your ability to maintain pace. So if you, for example, if you really cannot work more than 3 hours a day because your ability to maintain the expected pace can only be 3 hours, what you are earning now in those 3 hours in a day, instead of $30, is $60. And so you can work less and still make that substantial gainful activity. This is, all of my denials have gotten down to that thing. That's what they say. Basically, now they're saying it's on you to prove that you're unable to work any job in the labor market. And because our labor market is so wide open for jobs right now, that is what is doing this. Unfortunately, the other thing that is happening, and I'm not going to go into politics, but there is a lot of states that are in exerting their control against our federal government right now. So you think Social Security is a federal program that should not matter. Unfortunately, disability determinations are made at the state level. And so it is impacting that. And I actually, I suspected that might have something to do with it. And then I reached out to Allison Bartlett with HDSA. She is the disability advocate. She's a disability attorney with lots of experience with HD and other rare diseases. And she said that her data supports that as well. So if you currently live in a red state, I hate to say this, but that could potentially be impacting your ability to get approved for Social Security right now. But again, just doing what you can. Those are things that are beyond our control. It makes me sad, but things that you can do is you want to show that somebody is going to fatigue and need to rest more than what's allowed. So right now in our labor world, I believe it's, if you work 4 hours, you get one 15-minute break. If you work 5 hours, you get, or 6 hours, you get a 30-minute lunch. You need to show that the person with HD can only work 40 minutes of every hour, and they're going to need a 20-minute break. They're going to need more frequent breaks. They're going to need more time to process things. They're going to get agitated. They're not going to get along with their fellow employees. They're going to have a hard time accepting quick instruction from a supervisor. It could cause an outburst. All of those things need to be documented. And that's what's difficult is, again, going back to those other barriers. If you have somebody that's in denial, it's going to be hard to do that. And so making sure that you are writing your assessment. When you apply for Social Security, it says, is there somebody else that knows about your condition? You need to make sure it's yes. And you need to make sure the person that lives with a person that has HD and sees them the most is the one filling out that form. Basically, where we're at right now is we are in a where Social Security is being denied pretty much on the first time. From 2016 to 2020, I had one person get denied the first time they applied for Social Security. This particular person was 30. They didn't quite qualify for young, and they weren't that 38 years of age as well. That was documented in their criteria. I knew this person was probably going to get denied. I knew why. We were prepared for it. We did it. This particular person didn't even have to wait to go all the way to the judge hearing. We got her an attorney right away. We worked it out. She ended up waiting about a year for her benefits. So for 4 years, I had no denial. And then every single one of my patients that have applied since September of 2020 has been denied on their first application. And so it is where we're at. I wish we weren't here. I know that's so important to our families and our family systems. And now is probably more important than ever to try to pre-plan the best that you can. So if you're somebody or you know somebody who's living gene positive, go ahead and having these courageous conversations now and making a plan ahead of time is going to serve you better now than it ever has before. So long-term care, we didn't really get a lot of questions about that. That's a state program. It's federally and state. It's very unique program for services that can help pay for in-home services and nursing home care. I'm not going to spend too much time with that because I do want to go into, I don't know how we're doing on time, but I want to go into your questions specifically. How are we doing on time?
We're over, Janelle, but that part of that's our fault. We had technical difficulties in the beginning. So
Okay.
if we could go into questions, that would be awesome.
There are a couple that we sent in the chat, but only if you have time and,
Yeah.
and are able
You're getting
to.
a lot of questions.
Yeah.
So
Some of the questions that kind of came out ahead of time was in regards to some life insurance and life insurance planning. And so what is better, term life or whole life insurance? What is better for somebody with HD? And first of all, term life insurance is something that you typically pay a little bit of a lower premium for, but it terms at a certain age, like 60, 65. A whole life insurance policy is something that you pay and it actually holds a cash value. So that's the difference between whole life insurance and term life insurance. And so this is really where your individual circumstances is important, because if you are somebody who is going to need services from the community, so long-term care insurance, those types of things, that whole life insurance policy is going to count as an asset. The term life insurance policy will not. And that's just something to think about as far as planning is concerned. And in regards to private long-term care insurance, it is very expensive for the most part, even if you get it through an employer. So I actually this past year decided to participate in a consult with my employer, which is the University of South Florida. And I just did it for purposes of knowing what it was like to try to purchase a long-term care policy. And I did end up purchasing it. They asked some soft questions. They did not ask specifically about Huntington's disease. I don't know if that's because I did it through my employer, and that might be different than if I would have done a private purchase, but they asked a lot more questions about my physical health and my health history, personal health history, and less about family history. But for me, even through an employer, I think I'm paying about $150 a month. And so again, this is where looking at your personal financial situation, if you are somebody who is making $150,000, $160,000 a year and building assets, building 401ks, has assets, purchasing that, especially through an employer, if you can, is probably a really good idea, because you're not going to qualify for services in the future through Medicaid, long-term care. You're going to be over income and over assets. However, if you are not in that situation, it's really weighing the benefits of what you're investing in, what you're paying for every month, and what type of hit that is. So if you're doing a private plan, I think one of my patients that just recently tested positive, before she even got her result through a private plan, it was going to be about $350 a month. And she just couldn't, that was just too much. It was a car payment. That was too much for her in her life situation. And they didn't ask about Huntington's disease specifically, but they did ask if any of her parents had ever been in nursing home care, and her mother is still alive in a nursing home. And so that kind of influenced what her premium was going to be. So one of your children age out of the death benefit and the benefits, So this question is about when you have a spouse that has passed and you have children that are under 18 that are receiving survivor's benefit for their children. How does that work? And it's very interesting because children's benefits as a survivor and as disabled, there's a lot of similarities and there's a lot of differences. So if you are disabled and you have minor children, they also receive a monthly benefit. And then if you pass away, you have minor children, they can receive what they call survivor's benefits. Widows or widowers can also receive survivor's benefits that are caring for those children. And typically there's a max out benefit of what you can receive per month altogether, the widow's benefits, and the minor children's benefits. It's listed on your Social Security statement as far as what those are. However, it is really dependent. The answer to this question is really dependent on how big your family is and how many children that you have. For example, say you have 4 children and your max amount that you can receive, just to make it simple, is $1,200. You're not getting widow's benefits because you're earning more than they allow you to earn in order to get the widow's benefits. So you're getting $1,200. One child turns 8, that person, so then that benefit, if it is more, on the line for survivor's benefits, it tells you how much you'll get per child. And so say per child, your benefit is $400, but your maximum benefits that you can receive is $1,200. You've got 4 kids, one turns 18. So now their benefit is $400 a month. They were technically only receiving $300 a month. So now those 3 children get the $400 benefit. If you have 2 children and it's $1,200 a month, your maximum payout in your individual child benefit is $600. Then when the one child turns 18, you're not going to get the $1,200 towards that one child. You're going to get the $600 because that is the amount per child.